It was really early in my career as a pastor. I don't remember if it was the first Thanksgiving or the second Thanksgiving that I was a pastor. It was over in Idaho. And one of my folks came to me and said, "Pastor, looking around at the way the world is, sometimes I don't really feel like there's anything to be thankful for. People are out of work, they're hungry, they're lonely. Bombs and missiles are raining down destruction, the rainforest is being depleted. What's to be thankful for?" That's a comment that you can make today. And it's certainly a comment that could have been made back in the days of Joel. What as he put it earlier on in the book of Joel, he says, "An army of locusts has attacked our land. They're powerful and too many to count. Their teeth are as sharp as those of a lion. They've destroyed our grapevines and chewed up our fig trees. They've stripped off the bark till the branches are white. Cry, you people, like a young woman who mourns the death of the man she was going to marry. There's no grain or wine to offer in the temple. The priests mourn because they have no offerings to the Lord. The fields are bare. The ground mourns because the grain is destroyed. The grapes are dried up. The olive trees are withered." On the opposite side of the coin, it really should be easy to be thankful when things are going well. But somehow, like a disappointed child on Christmas morning, we seem to be more concerned with what we don't have than what we do have. And that kind of focus leads us to a life of ingratitude and selfishness. Like the man in Budapest, the Jewish gentleman, went to see his rabbi and he says, "Rabbi, life is unbearable. There are 9 of us living in one room. What can I do?" The rabbi thinks about it for a moment and says, "Take your goat into the room with you." The man's incredulous, but the rabbi insists, "Do as I say, and come back in a week." A week later, the man comes back looking more distraught than before. "We can't stand it," he said. "That goat is filthy." The rabbi tells him, "Go home and let the goat out and come back in a week." The radiant man returns to the rabbi a week later. "Life is beautiful. We enjoy every minute of it. Now that there's no goat, there's just the 9 of us." Joel could have focused on the drought, the deprivation caused by the locusts that had consumed the land. The grapevines and the grain had been chewed down to the very earth. And the trees, stripped of their leaves and bark and fruit, stood naked to the skyline like a burned-over forest. There was no seed to plant and no water to nurture the earth. All that lay ahead was famine. There was not even grain or wine or anything to bring for the sacrifices to the Lord. There was no foreseeable future for Joel's people. But instead of focusing on the calamity around him, Joel says to the people, "Come, repent, and look to the day when God will restore the land." That God would restore the land was a given. It was not a wish, not a promise. It was for Joel a fact. It was a given. For Joel, that plague of locusts and the accompanying drought are both a judgment on Israel for their years of sinfulness, and it was a foretaste of the day of the Lord, the time of judgment and salvation, when the arrogance of man will be brought low and the pride of men humbled, and God alone will be exalted. In calling the people to repentance, Joel says, "Blow the trumpet on the mountain. Give orders for a fast. Call an assembly. Gather the people together. Prepare them for a sacred meeting. Bring the old people. Gather the children and the babies too. Even newly married couples must leave their homes and come. The priest serving the Lord between the altar and the entrance to the temple must weep and pray. Have pity on your people, O Lord. Do not let other nations despise us and mock us by saying, 'Where's your God?' If they do so, Joel assures them, the Lord will restore their fortune. So there's no need for the land, the animals, the plants, or people to fear. Only reasons to rejoice and give thanks. Rejoicing and giving thanks when things are that way doesn't come easy. You probably know that from your own experience. I'm reminded of a Scottish minister named Alexander White, who was always noted because all of his prayers were always uplifting. No matter what was going on, he could find something good. One really miserable, rotten, nasty, cold, wet, rainy, cloudy day, he stepped into the pulpit to pray, and one of the congregation thought to himself, aha, we got him now. He's never going to be able to find anything good about this to pray. Much to his surprise, White began by praying, we thank thee, O God, but it's not always like this. As we prepare for Thursday's feast with our friends and family in the wake of Umpqua Community College, Paris, Syrian refugee problem, and all the other tragedies weighing heavily on our hearts, it may seem like it did to that person in my first congregation, or to some in Joel's time. There's nothing to be thankful for. How many of you are still breathing? Come on. Oh, you in the back row, you're breathing. I can see that from you.
Barely.
How many of you have a roof over your head? How many of you had breakfast this morning? Or at least the opportunity for breakfast, which you may have skipped. If you have friends and family and these things around you, you have more to be thankful for than many around the world. 20 years ago, at this time of the year, I was in Uvira, Zaire, it's now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And we were working with the refugees from the Rwandan massacres. And we were sitting in the gathering room of the house we shared as a group of missionaries, short-term missionaries. And one of the people who was with us mentioned that we're out of food. I don't know what we're going to eat at our house tomorrow. Well, while all of us poor, tired, underfed, undercared for Americans sat around trying to figure out what we could do for this guy, the teacher, who was also a refugee, disappeared and came back a few minutes later with a bag of beans and gave it to this guy. And he says, here, I wish I could give you more, but that's half of what we have at our house. Half of the food they had at their house, he gave to this person. And we said, well, what are you going to do? I mean, we were shocked, being Americans. Nobody gives away half their income in this country. It'd be nice if someone would, but we don't. And we said, what are you going to do when your family runs out of food? He said, God will provide, like Joel. Like Joel. That was a given, not a promise, not a wish, not a desire. He had no doubt in his mind that his family was going to be fed and that God would provide. That's the kind of thing Jesus is talking about in this gospel lesson. That kind of trust that comes from a deep faith in God. True gratitude and true thankfulness come out of that faith. The same God who called the land, the animals, and the people to rejoice and give thanks calls us to rejoice and give thanks and to show our gratitude with what I call lives of thanksgiving. Amen.